Hi, everybody. Okay, we're calculating the percent of a quantity. So our EQ is how do I calculate the percent of a quantity? We need to define the term percent. I don't think that we've really talked about that, but percent has to do with 100. And percent literally means per 100, okay, as we put in the definition here. So we can also kind of think of that as a number out of 100, which is why I put that in the parentheses. So we write the percent as a fraction. Make sure you have that in your notes. We're going to do some examples of what that looks like. If I'm writing a percent as a fraction, I might have 20%, and I'm going to write that as 20 out of 100, or 20 per 100. That means every 100 pieces that I have, 20 of them are filled up. Okay, another example. Let's say we have 67%. How am I going to write that? I'm going to write that as 67 out of 100, or 67 per 100. Okay. So now that we know how to write a percent as a fraction, that's a really important step to the rest of it. The rest of it is also things that we know how to do. So I'm going to change the page. And our question is, how do I find the percent of a certain quantity? So if there's a sale and it's 20%, I have to figure out how much the sale cost is going to be, because I want to make sure that I have enough money. The shirt is $65 normally, and I'm going to get 20% off of it. Well, I need to know how much 20% off is going to be, because that's going to tell me whether or not I can afford it, or if I can get something else also. So if I know how much I'm going to get take off of the price, then I can maybe shop for other things. Okay, so our example is, I'm going to shorten up that example to be 20% of 65. So we're just going to work with the really short little word problems today, just to practice the skill. Okay, our steps are to first write the percent as a rate, or write it as a fraction. That's what that really means, over 100. Okay, just like we did in the examples above. Second step is to change the word of to a multiplication sign. And the third step would just be to multiply. So you have to remember how to multiply fractions for these problems. So if you don't remember, you're going to have to go back to your notes on multiplying fractions, which is why it's a really good thing that we keep a notebook, because we should still have our notes with us. Okay, so for an example, we'll show you how this works. 20% of 65, I'm going to actually write that. If I'm following my steps, I'm going to write the percent as a rate over 100. What's the percent? The percent is 20%. It's that number with the percent sign. So I'm going to write that as 20 over 100. And then I'm going to go on to my second step, because I've done step one. Change the word of to a multiplication sign. I'm just going to use X. Okay, so I'm going to multiply that by the quantity in my example, which is 65. So there we go. Okay, so half of the problem is done. I've got it set up. I'm noticing that if I multiply, I have a whole number right here with 65. And what do we do with whole numbers? We need to make sure that we add a 1 underneath it. Then it becomes a little bit easier to multiply. And now I'm just going to multiply fractions, just like we did before. You can cross cancel if you know how to do that. But if not, we're just going to multiply 20 times 65. 20 times 65 is 1,300 when you calculate that out. And 100 times 1 is 100. So I've just multiplied the numerators and I've multiplied the denominators. And now I have my new fraction with 1,300 on top over 100. From here, we're going to simplify that or divide. 1,300 divided by 100. Okay, these problems are really nice because anytime you divide by 100, you can take a shortcut and cross out these two zeros, and these cancel out these two zeros, and now it's just 13 divided by 1, which is 13. So our answer is 13. Basically, I'm going to get to take $13 off of the price of 65. Okay, so if I want to figure out my sale price, I'm going to take 65 minus 13, and my new price is $52.